Welcome to the Wild Type Podcast. I'm Neptune and Chameleon.
I'm Lyssa Lizards.
And we're your reptile girlies. So I have something to tell you that you haven't heard yet. This is a funny story.
Oh, now I'm scared.
Okay, so one thing you don't know is that I'm test driving cars right now.
I don't know that. Wait, I'm so pissed. Why do I not know that?
So, which is not the point of this story.
The whole time I've been friends with you, you've had the same car.
This is true. 8 years going strong.
I can't believe you've kept the secret from me.
So we're car shopping,
Okay.
but like low key, like not in any rush. I'm like test driving a couple cars here, a couple cars there. So earlier this week, I test drove a car, and while I was driving it around, the dealership or whatever, I hit a pothole.
Oh.
And then another one. Then another one.
Did you pop the tire?
Not on that car. But then we get back to the dealership, and then I try the second car and hit a pothole and get a flat on the test drive. And the guy, he's like, I've never had this happen before. And it was like, and he's like, I think we have a flat. And of course the tire light comes on, and I don't know this car. So I'm like, I think that's the light. And so we have to pull over, and then they have to call their like dealership guy. And of course I go in the evening, like after work. So like they're like kind of closing, and I feel bad already because I kind of showed up. I showed up like an hour and a half before closing.
That's
so like
plenty of time.
But now we're like getting close to closing because we have to wait for the flat to get repaired.
Oh my God, that sucks.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm happy to cover the cost of it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that was nice of you. You did not have to offer that.
I know, but I like kind of felt like I needed to. I don't know.
You were being too nice.
And he's like, no, I think it's just the tire. Because I didn't like hurt the rims or anything. No. He's like, yeah, those are like $2,000 wheels. I was like,
you're like, yeah, don't make me pay that.
Well, the wheels, not the tire.
Oh,
like
I see.
If I had damaged the rims or whatever. So
I'm not a car girl, but I do know the difference.
So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and I felt horrible.
Okay, why though? It's a test drive. That's bound to happen occasionally.
I hit the pothole.
Oh, whatever. I mean, don't feel bad.
I felt bad.
Don't feel bad.
But it was kind of eventful though. And then jokingly we're waiting awkwardly outside waiting for this guy to come. And I was like, well, at least it makes for a good story. And we're like joking about it. And I was like, and I'm going to talk about this on my podcast. And then he was like, you have a podcast?
And you're like, oh no.
And I was like, yeah, it's a girly reptile podcast. And then he goes on to tell me how he had an iguana and all of this. And I was like, oh, I don't mess with iguanas,
nope.
And he's like, yeah, I had this male that was like super defensive, but like my female was chill. And we're like gabbing about.
Was he trying to breed them or something?
No. I think he had them at like separate times. And he's like, what, do you and your friend have like a bearded dragon or something? And I was like, excuse me, neither of us have beard dragons.
Actually, no, we don't.
There's nothing wrong with having a beard dragon.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, if
that
my dealership guy is listening to this right now, I apologize for
I'm over here being like, don't feel bad.
Because he's like, send me the link. And I'm like,
I don't know about that.
We will see.
Well, that's exciting. I'm excited that you're looking for new cars.
Yes, we can debrief afterwards in more detail.
I want to hear more about that because I just sold my second car that I ever had. So that's exciting. Also,
if you hear some ambient noise, we're in the midst of a storm right now.
It is currently pouring down rain.
Nothing crazy. Like we're not like
in danger.
No. But there's definitely noises.
There's definitely
outside.
Thunder. There's definitely some lightning going on. So if anything happens, or if like the power goes out, who knows?
Oh,
who knows? That could be interesting. I doubt it.
I'm really hoping that doesn't happen.
That would be not fun,
but a possibility.
Yeah.
So
TBD.
Anyways, did you have anything to share in the beginning?
No.
Okay, you feel good.
Yeah,
Love that.
Nothing new. Nothing new over here.
Love that. So,
nothing. It just basically our dogs are having a puppy play date right now as well. So if you hear any barking or anything like that,
other disclaimer.
That could also be a factor because
it also will 100% be Campbell.
Yes. Campbell's the vocal one. Ember is not vocal.
No.
Yes, but they do get along famously. They get along wonderfully. The only problem is that Campbell also gets a smidge jealous.
It's true.
Which, I mean, he gets jealous of his toys. He gets jealous if like Ember's getting more attention. It's
so funny because like Ember just like
she does not care.
No, if Campbell's like, I want that toy, she'll be like, okay.
She's like, take it.
And then she'll
It's
just
fine.
go find another toy. And he's like, well, now I want that toy. And she's like, okay. And then she'll go again. Well, now I want that toy.
Yeah.
Only because she has it.
Earlier, he has like favorite toys, and we always when she's coming over, we always like put up the favorite toys because
Sure.
we never want it to become. He's never made it a problem, but just in case it ever
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be, or whatever.
Safe and
But
sorry, yeah.
he has this one ball, and it's a certain size, and then we've accidentally ordered the same ball in the bigger size, and he doesn't like the bigger size, and so. But Ember was playing with the bigger ball, and we were like, great, but play with the one that he doesn't like. He really loved. He all of a sudden had
Because
interest
she
because
had
she
it.
had it.
Yeah, no.
It's just ridiculous.
But Ember's so chill. She's like, okay.
She doesn't care about anything. No, she gets along with everybody, and Cam gets along with everyone. He just gets jealous.
A little bit. He's like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, and I would like to have a second dog one day, but we'll see.
We'll see.
He's very much an only child, so.
I'm not, but I can see the benefits from a dog's perspective, how that might be nice.
I know.
So the meat of today's
Yeah.
episode is buying reptiles online versus in person.
Yes.
And I think this will be a kind of fun discussion because both of us have bought reptiles both online and in person.
And there are multiple ways to buy in person too.
Yes.
And so yeah, we've done like all the things.
Do you have a preference on which one we start with?
Let's start with in person.
In person?
Let's start with in person.
Okay. So in person, you've got options.
Yes.
I would say maybe like 3 options. A reptile store,
Yes.
which I'm going to put like chain stores, like a brick and mortar.
I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, a brick and mortar store. Then like, does this count as online? I guess it's like a hybrid, like Craigslist or something, right? Like that's kind of online, but
that's
you see
kind of-
them in person.
That's a whole other category, frankly. That's interesting.
And then like an expo setting.
Yeah.
Where you like would have breeders who
Yeah.
are like vending and then selling reptiles that way.
Yeah. I forgot about the Craigslist option.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid.
Yeah, because I've done Craigslist too.
Yeah.
So
I have not done Craigslist. I've gotten reptile supplies off of
I've done
Craigslist, but
I've done all of the above, frankly.
I used to look up chameleons on Craigslist, and I
sad.
can't do that.
Yeah, no, it's really sad. I'll occasionally look, like I'll occasionally creep just because like you'll randomly see like a monkey-tailed skink on Craigslist and you're like, whoa. So I'll occasionally see what's out there and stuff, but I don't troll it as often as I used to.
Wait. Rewind. Was Draco Drusilla, were they, or was that Facebook?
They were a Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
They were a satanic leaf-tail gecko Facebook group, and there was a guy who had 2 and selling them quick. He like wanted them gone, and I was like, I will drive the 9 hours.
It gave Craigslist vibes, mostly because we showed up to this man's house.
Yes.
And then
it fully gave Craigslist vibes, but
and
it was
then
Facebook group
drove
vibes.
back with these geckos.
Yes.
Okay, I guess that's online. We'll try and keep this in person first.
Yeah.
So we've talked about like chain stores, Petco, PetSmart.
Yes.
Pros of that, convenient. There's so many of them.
A lot of cons, including lack of variety and availability. There's not nearly as much.
Health and well-being.
Yes.
Pro, you get to see the animal, which I would say is the pro of all in person, right? That's a
absolutely.
huge advantage.
I mean, yeah, because it's an advantage, but I don't know where I'm going with that. But basically, it's an advantage because you get to see them and you get to check for health, make sure there's no mites, make sure they're like all doing good and everything. But you're also limited to what is there.
Yes.
Versus like online, you have every potential option.
Availability
at all.
is definitely
Yeah.
less in person.
Yeah.
But online, you're at the mercy of like whatever
Whatever's
pictures are there or
available.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having that, and then you don't have to like worry about waiting,
Right.
or like availability and things like that. Like
Yeah.
if it's in front of you, it's
Yeah.
there. You can
Yep.
like
You're taking
take
it home. Yeah.
Unless you're Neptune the Chameleon, in which case I paid for him and I had to wait like a whole week. or however many days it
about
was.
that. That was funny.
Yeah, because they had just gotten like
Yeah.
his clutch in. It was like a bunch of baby chameleons, and they're like, "Oh, we're still quarantining them
Yeah.
and whatever." Like good reasons.
All good reasons.
Just annoying because I went home with the receipt.
Yeah.
And no chameleon.
That's a bummer.
But obviously got to pick
Yeah.
him up later
Yeah.
on. But I got to like pick out my specific one. I got to see him. I got to confirm he was a male because like I had like trained myself how to tell the
pick.
differences,
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
not reliant on the breeder telling you and like shipping you a female when it was actually a male or like whatever. So
well, and it's funny you say that because Barney I had to wait for too. Actually,
because he was a buy early, save big.
He was, and so I ordered him online, but I still had to wait. Like I actually waited almost. It was like he was born like December 1st-ish, in between like November and December. I placed the order in January and he didn't get shipped to me until March.
Yep.
So I waited.
That tracks. Yep.
So I waited like 2 months for him, which was actually great because then I had all the time to like set up the enclosure and get everything ready. And so I actually like planned ahead in that way.
For sure.
So,
I would say that is a pro of online is that you could give yourself more time before like shipping them out versus in person. If you're taking them home, you better be ready.
Yep.
Like you better have your enclosure, your food, everything lined up.
Or at least easily be able to assemble all of that.
Yes.
Like have everything available at some point. Because like I've definitely done that where I was like, I do not have an enclosure set up at home, but I can have one ready in an hour.
Yeah, you have all the parts.
Yes, I have all the parts and pieces and we're all ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say too, there's something special about seeing them in person versus online.
Because you can kind of just like fall in love.
I'm having flashbacks to Scooby.
I know. I was so in love with Scooby. He was such a little nugget.
Because as soon as you like held him,
I was like, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done here. Can I just pay you? Can I just give you the money?
Chihuahua gecko purchased from a reptile expo.
Yes.
And like
I forget which expo that was.
Repticon.
Oh, it was Repticon. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm having flashbacks. I'm like going through the whole day.
Yeah,
and he was like right when you walked in on that right hand side, that table.
They had all the like orange like boxes and everything for them. I think it was.
We did not make it very far into the expo before. That was like a very early on in the day.
Very quick. Yeah, I think it was Gecko Junkie was his breeder. So
that's where I got Pluto from.
Yeah, forget about that. They came from the same breeder.
Yeah, he was an expo purchase.
Yeah.
I will say like there's some prep you can do going prior to an expo, but like I think in person does open up the opportunity for spontaneous purchases.
It really does. And that is somewhat of a con.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Especially when I'm thinking like chain stores like your Petco, PetSmarts, and like all of those. People walk in, fall in love, and then walk out and then aren't necessarily prepared. Not even just in having the enclosure like we touched on, but like fully understanding
the species, the care, the requirements, everything.
All the research entails. So then it causes you to scramble research, which means whatever pops up on Google first is like what you're going with or whatever you were told in the store, which may not be could be totally fine, but may not be the most reliable, and in our experience usually isn't. So that just is like unfortunate because to truly do your research, you got to fact check, you got to check multiple sources, like you're really diving into it, and that's just going to take time. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like I highly recommend shopping in person at expos. I love doing that. I've done that countless times myself. I think it's like a really great way to do it. But like you said, it definitely can kind of, it can lead to those spontaneous purchases. But I think this is one interesting way of shopping in person. So I know we talked brick and mortar and I know we talked about chain stores, but there's also really, really great local reptile shops.
Yep.
There are some not so great ones, so definitely suss that out. But another, in my opinion, really good way of shopping in person is how you did with Neptune, where you like went into that store multiple times. You were asking questions. You were looking at all the chameleons they had. You were like really interested, and you went in over like multiple weeks.
Oh yeah, and my Saturdays for like a few weeks, and I'd be there for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't kick me out.
But that's so funny.
Like that didn't even buy anything.
Like, this crazy girl keeps asking us about chameleons.
Seriously though.
But I think that's a big difference too between expos and not chain stores, but like good local reptile shops if you have one in your area, because expos are fleeting, right? They're there and
There's
then
also
they're
a time
gone.
pressure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like trying to make the sale, or that person who's chatting to you, then
Right.
another person walks up to their table, that's a potential customer.
Right.
If you're just asking research questions, while they would be happy to chat with you, at the end of the day,
Yes.
if that person's buying or is
Yes.
more likely to buy, then like rightfully so, they're going to focus their attention over to that person.
Yep.
Or they're going to help them and then come back to you. So then you're just stuck kind of like waiting while they're, you know, like talking to other customers. So yeah, and then at a certain point, they're probably just gonna be like, okay, well, like here's some resources or here's my information, right? Like
at some point they're going to be like, all right, move along.
Right.
Yeah. But I think if you, specifically if it's like your first reptile that you're getting, or even like first couple, I really like the method of like finding a really good local reptile shop and like asking the questions. And even if you're not buying from that store, like if you decide that you want to go online, or if you decide that you want to check out an expo, fall in love, whatever, that's fine. But I just think there's a distinct difference between expos are very fleeting, have like the time spontaneity. You might have less opportunity to talk to the breeder, things like that. Versus if you find a local reptile shop, you can go in, you can ask all those questions, and then kind of decide to buy when it's right for you.
Yeah,
because that option's not going anywhere, whereas the expo goes places.
it also has this pressure of like,
Yes.
if this animal
Yes.
may not be available now. Reality is every breeder can ship to you.
Yes.
So don't feel pressured. If you fall in
Yes.
love with a specific animal or a breeder, you can also put them on hold, right? You could put a deposit down,
Yep.
because a breeder likely isn't going to hold an animal for you if you're not in some way like financially like
Putting a deposit.
Yeah.
It's like it's like any big purchase. You need
Yeah. Yeah, because then they could just sell that animal to the next person.
They
so
need
like
some kind of a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But you could like take their card or their information. You're like, hey, let me do some more
Yeah.
research. And then you could reach out to them.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of vendors who go to shows go very much with planting the seed,
Yes.
right? So then when customers are ready,
Yes.
then they've got that connection and aren't necessarily trying to make day of purchases.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of, I know we've mentioned him before, but our friend Huff's Herps, who's a leopard gecko and African fat-tail gecko breeder, he does that a lot, where he will give people the care sheet and be like, hey, if you're not ready to buy, here's my care sheet, here's my card, let me know when you are ready and I'll
Yep.
let you know what's available. So like a lot of vendors will do that, and I think that's a really good method.
Especially with a species that may be a little more intricate to
Yes.
set up. Like a lot of chameleon breeders are also doing
Yes.
that, because the likelihood of someone having a 2x4 with their T5 UVB mister like already chilling there, it happens, but odds are with the foot
It's less
traffic,
likely.
it's less likely, right?
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big.
Yeah, and not all expos are going to have like all the right supplies. I mean, it's likely that they'll have a lot of the supplies there, but you may not be able to buy everything there. You usually won't. You're going to have to get some stuff later. So
Yeah, and then something you touched on, I just want to like dive a little deeper into it, is availability, right? And
Yes.
variety.
Yes.
So not to say that your expo couldn't have a ton of stuff, or your reptile
Right.
shop couldn't have a ton of stuff. Like I got Luna, my Christopher Parsons,
Which is-
from my local reptile shop.
it's honestly crazy.
Yeah.
That was a wild find.
Yeah. So it's not to say it can't happen, but just the availability. They're likely going to be carrying the most common species, the most popular morphs, right? And that just makes sense from a business standpoint, because like those animals are taking up space. They got to care for them, feed for them. At an expo, you're going to bring what you're most likely to sell, you know.
Selling seashells by the seashore.
Say that. Yeah, I know. Versus online, yes, the breeder has to have that capacity in their like home or space or whatever facility, but they're not having to like travel with them to shows. And so, or they could specialize just in one thing. Like you have that option as well, versus a storefront is going to have more variety of things. So I think if you're wanting like less common species or morphs or whatever, then online would be the way to go.
Yeah. And I mean, so I guess now are we kind of switching into like the online realm?
That's at least what's top of mind for the in-person stuff. So I'm good with switching sides.
Yeah, me too. I was like, that felt like a good little segue over to the online stuff. But yeah, I mean, online, it's like one of the really great benefits is like that opens you up to all the possibilities of all the species, all the obscurities, all of the different options, also all of the different morph options. Like your local pet store or PetSmart, Petco, all that. Like obviously we don't quite recommend on that end. But, you know, your local pet store may have limited, you know, availability for certain morphs and things like that.
Yep.
So when you're looking online, you have every option available to you.
Yep.
Every option. And so that is one of the benefits, but there's a lot of downsides too. So.
Yeah. One thing I see all the time, specifically for chameleons, right? Because people usually reach out and they're like, I'm looking for a chameleon breeder, but like I can't find any in my area. Do you know anyone in like X city or X state?
Right.
And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that specific city and state. So I think a lot of people aren't aware that like online is an option, and like shipping a reptile is a thing that like you don't have to feel limited to just what's available at your expo or in person. Like you can purchase online, and I know it can seem very daunting, the idea of shipping a reptile, but there's places like Redline Shipping that like make it so safe and easy.
Yeah, they make it so easy these days. I mean, I will never forget how anxious I was when I had Barney shipped to me from California. I was like so nervous and so worried about it, and I followed all of the recommendations. I was like, I'm gonna hold it at the distribution center so that I go and pick it up. I'm not gonna have it shipped to my door because that's less time on a truck. Like I was so nervous and so worried about it and so anxious, and it went so smoothly. And like you said, Redline Shipping makes it really easy. I mean, it's a lot less daunting than you think it is, especially if it's your first time doing it. You're going to be scared out of your mind. You're going to be very nervous about it, but it is 2025. We have it down to a science. It is very rare at this point. Obviously, like DOA, down on arrival, it can happen, but it really is going to depend on the temperatures you have in your area and like all of that stuff. And for the most part, nobody's going to ship a reptile given certain weather things.
No.
So it really is like from what I've heard.
No, the risk is so low. And as someone who's purchasing, like it's on the breeder to do a good job, right? Like you as a recipient, you're just driving to your FedEx hub, picking them up, and that's it. Like that's as much as your involvement is. It's on the breeder. So this goes back to like doing your research. And when you're buying online, you don't have the option of like talking to them in person and like seeing the animal.
That is a con.
Right. So like you have to do your research and do due diligence and look up reviews and like talk to the breeders directly, and then learn the signs yourself of like what good shipping practices are. Like they should be checking your weather at their location and your location. They should be in constant communication. They should make sure that you're available. Like there's all these things the breeder should do on their end to ensure highest chances of survival. And so buying online, that's just like a step you kind of have to take. But don't be deterred by online. Like both of us have purchased multiple reptiles online. I've actually shipped a reptile myself through Redline Shipping, and like that went smoothly. So like it's very, very possible, and it happens like all the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll never forget getting Nilla. To this day, I got her from Tiki's Geckos. I'm happy to give them a shout out. I love those guys. They literally called me the day after she arrived and was like, hey, we just wanted to make sure that everything went well. You know, we saw that she got delivered and everything looked good, but just wanted to make sure everything's good on your end. We haven't heard from you, so just wanted to make sure. I was like, y'all are amazing. So like, it really is such common practice these days with shipping. Like it's so not as scary as you think, and it opens up the world of options.
Yes.
But you're right. You definitely have to do your own research, and you have to make sure that you are on top of your stuff, and because then you can kind of suss out if it's a good breeder, if it's a good situation, how that's going to go. Like you just need to be a little bit more on top of it when you're shopping online.
Yeah. So some of the cons, I guess, is that you can run into, I was going to say scams. Scams?
Yeah.
Spam?
Scam. No, scam.
Yes,
You're
thank
correct.
you.
Scams.
Okay.
You
Scams.
got it.
Unfortunately, that's like a very real thing. This is not unique to reptiles. You see it with dogs, puppies,
Everything.
like everything, right? Like even TVs on Facebook Marketplace, whatever, right? Like people will steal other people's pictures and then try and get a deposit and then never be heard of again. So like they've stolen my pictures. Have they ever gotten your pictures?
Okay, I have had a couple. I've had like 2 Facebook profiles made of like using my photos, but
oh no, this is just like they were trying to sell like Neptune. Like they took a picture of it.
That's never happened to me. I've had like fake Lyssa's Lizards Facebook pages
pop
up.
No. This was like trying to sell actual Neptune from his picture.
So mine wasn't trying to sell my pets, but they were trying to sell animals through the
okay,
Facebook
yep.
page they had made, saying that it was me, but it
I
was
hear
like,
what you're saying.
but the photos were not my pets. And I
So
was
like the opposite.
I was like,
yeah.
this isn't even associated with me. You're just using my profile photo. Like,
I do have it on our podcast episode idea list to talk about
Yes.
Facebook scams. So
We
like
can
I
go
don't
into
want to
all
get
that.
too into it, but just be mindful like that's
Yeah.
a thing online. Whoever shows up first on like a Google search does not necessarily mean they are the
Nope.
most reputable.
nope. It just means that they pay for ads on Google.
Yes. Yes. So like that can be really hard to flesh out, but just being mindful of like
Yeah.
most breeders are going to specialize in a handful of
Yes.
species. They're going to have pictures of the parents, they're going to have the lineage, they're going to have a price point that is like
Yeah.
right on the money with all the other pricing.
Also, this is like a minor one, but like if they have a very professional website and a professional Instagram account and a professional, like if they have like professional social media accounts that match all of the branding and all of the things on their website, that's usually somewhat of a good sign that they're like a busy business that is like doing, business
Yeah.
online and stuff. And then obviously always check the reviews.
Yes.
Like that is there are so many companies out there that if you just glance at the reviews, it will tell you everything you need to know.
Yep.
So
That's what I always suggest because, like, I'm not one to, like, drag a business
No, yeah.
through the mud. I will give recommendations.
Yeah.
And if you are like, well, how about this place?
Be like,
Then
look at the reviews.
Then I say go to chameleonforums.com
Yeah.
and search for it. And you will see firsthand
It'll pop right
other
on up.
people's experiences. You don't have to hear from me.
Yeah.
I haven't purchased for them, so it's not fair for me to
Right.
make
Yeah.
a comment. But I have heard from other people, and you are welcome to read them.
Just do a little research. Just look it up.
Yep.
You'll see everything that's on there. But yeah, I mean, it's when it comes to online, I think that I personally prefer online shopping these days with reptiles or expos. Those are kind of my two. But I'm also kind of at this like weird point where I know exactly what I want at this point.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like, it kind of depends on where you are in your reptile journey too, my opinion.
Because I'm thinking about, like, if I were to purchase another animal right now, like, where would I sit on it?
Yeah.
And as much as I love seeing the animal in person, you don't get to see the animal beforehand.
Right.
So you kind of have to, like, see it in that moment and make that decision in the moment. And my personality just does not lend
You don't
itself
operate like that.
for that. Like, I purchased Pluto that way, but I had decided to crest a gecko.
Yeah.
And I knew everything I was getting into. And
Yeah.
then I was like, cool, this one, like, looks cool. But to your point, being more seasoned in my reptile keeping, I want the kind of cool ones, like the
Right.
really, really
Me
cool
too.
ones,
Yeah,
right?
same.
And not
Yeah.
to say you can't see that at expos, but like I'm probably paying a higher price point for them at this point because I want the probably
Right.
less common morphs or whatever. But then also I just want to like be like, this is it, and like have that mental commitment of like, this is the one.
Yes.
And then get it and then have the joy of like
That is-
seeing it in
That
person.
is so on brand. That so tracks. That is everything. Because you are that way. You wanna know and be certain and
Yeah.
have it all lined up
Yeah.
and have it all, and that totally tracks. And that's, it's funny because I am kind of that way now. But I was not that way at all whatsoever
No.
when I started in this hobby. I was like the most
I was
impulsive.
like, who on the list is from the era?
Yeah, we have been through a large number of
And there's
spontaneous
something
purchases.
special about that
Yes.
moment
Yes.
of like coming to like I
Yes.
still remember getting Pluto,
Yeah.
right? Like to this day, and it was a very special
You're
moment.
like, this is my new child.
It's like getting a dog from the shelter,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Versus, I mean, even that's a little different because they put pictures online usually of the shelter.
true,
But like,
but-
pretend you didn't see online,
Yeah,
and you just walk in there and you fall in love, and you're like, this is the one. Versus going through a dog breeder, you pick out your puppy, but that's also exciting. It's just in a different,
Making me think about Campbell.
but in a different way though,
Yeah, a
right?
different
and
way.
like I got Ember through a breeder, so like I fell in love with her before I
Yes.
even met her
Yes.
because I got to see her picture and you
picture.
start
Yeah,
imagining
yeah,
what
yeah.
they're gonna be like, and there's something special to be said of that. And like, that's how I'd feel if I saw a baby chameleon online and picked them out. And then I met them in person, because you get excited, you know.
I'm just literally flashing back to the day that we found Campbell, and we put him in this one room in our house that had like no furniture yet, because we had only lived there for like 3 months. And so this one room, and I had a blanket laid down, and he was passed out on drugs because he had like had an x-ray and like all this stuff.
Also because he was running around like a maniac he for finally, who knows how long.
The poor baby finally felt safe. He was just like passed out, and I had taken my laptop and I had sat down in this one room in our house off of our kitchen that had no furniture, and I sat down on the floor and I had my laptop and I was working, and I was just staring at him, and I was like, I have a dog now. I was like, I think I'm going to keep this dog. And it just like hit me.
I love that though. But you know that moment though,
it's a
right?
special moment. I have that moment with Hazel when I was like, that's my girl. That's my boa. That's my
at an
snake.
expo,
at an
right?
expo. And then Scooby, I was like, that's my Chihuahua. That's my dude. It's just like those moments are really special when you find them. How long have we been using Pangea gecko food? Like forever, right?
Since we've both had our geckos.
Literally. I mean, it's one of the OG crested gecko food brands. And honestly, one of my main reasons for using them is their vast variety of flavors.
Pluto's personal favorite has to be the watermelon and the fig and insects.
They go crazy for the watermelon flavor. Mine love the watermelon too, and the fig and insects. Those are a top 2 in my household.
I also have to give a shout out to the silicone cups, because that has been a game changer.
They are so easy to clean. You can reuse them.
And you save so much money.
You save so much money on the cups.
So if you're interested in any of these products, head on over to PangeaReptile.com.
Hey, reptile girlies, if you're tired of explaining why your spare room looks like a mini Jurassic Park, meet Scratches, the social app where exotic pet owners find their people.
Just add photos of you and your scaly babies, set your filters to reptiles, and start scrolling through local pet parents who get it. No more awkward first date explanations about your ball python collection or why you have a cricket farm.
Whether you're looking for friendship, romance, or someone who can pet sit your beardy, your community is just a match away.
Download Scratches today and start connecting with reptile people in your area. Available on iOS and Android. So I'm thinking back to Barney, because this is a unique scenario, because you didn't see a picture of Barney prior to, right? Not once, not until you...
Yeah, because it was... So he's from Camouflage Creations, the fabulous chameleon breeder, and they do this thing where they have all their holdbacks that they will show photos of, but they will do a promotion where they're like,
it's called buy early, save big.
Yeah. And so they'll do that where it's like, I think it's like $50 off or something, but the trade-off is that you don't get a photo.
Right. You don't get to pick your specific chameleon. So you get a discounted price as an incentive to go that route. I just wasn't sure if there was any point in the process you got to see a picture. So that's why I thought. So that's an even...
You do get to see the photos of the parents, so you know like what you know.
But you don't fall in love with your baby until you're literally unboxing them.
Yep.
So that's an even kind of freakier experience, because you've already committed to this animal financially and emotionally, right? Prior to.
Yes.
And then it's like Christmas morning where you like,
but you know what's really funny? Now in hindsight, that feels insane. Like in hindsight, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I bought him sight unseen. I didn't even know what I was walking into. I had no idea. Like, it's insane that I did that, but it was because it was only my second reptile ever.
In your first online purchase.
And my first online purchase. And so like at that point, the only other reptile I had ever gotten was a Christmas gift. And so like I had no idea what I was walking into. So I was like, this seems like a good option. And now me like 8 years later being like, what was I doing? I would never do that now. But it is a great option and it worked out so well. So
oh yeah, and to your point, you had at least an idea of what you're getting, because like once you know the parents and like Camouflage is like a reputable breeder, like so like all the boxes were checked. You just literally had no idea what like Barney looked like until you literally unboxed him. And I've seen the video.
Yeah, I've got a video.
And you and your little shaky hands.
I was so shaky. I was so anxious because I had only ever held a leopard gecko at that point.
Yeah.
I had held like one baby chameleon at an expo, and I had never, so it was like all new for me in that moment. It was brand new. Yeah.
So that's a very unique experience. But online I think can be a really good option. It opens up a plethora of choices for you. You get to pick your specific animal.
Yeah.
You can noodle on it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you go through a good breeder.
So let's also, real quick, we kind of touched on Craigslist and Facebook groups just a little bit. So let's like dive deeper just a smidge. Because like when we say order or like shopping online, there's obviously shopping directly through the breeder. There's also places like Morph Market where you will, that helps you get connected directly to a breeder. And then there's also Facebook groups or Craigslist. I almost said Facebook Marketplace. But there's
animals aren't allowed on
no
there.
that would be bad
animal
news.
sales aren't allowed on Facebook, period. But there's like obviously ways around that.
I got a couple satanic leaf-tailed geckos that way. So there sometimes occasionally you'll see in Facebook groups like people being like, hey, these are available and you can DM them and see how it goes. It's a little, that's way sketchier.
It goes back to like if it's a breeder who has a Facebook page and they're promoting on Facebook, or they're active in a group, or they're like, hey, I have this new clutch available or whatever. That to me, I'm good with, because then they're just using Facebook as like a funnel to meet customers.
100%.
Now, when it's an individual that doesn't have a business page, or they're trying to rehome or resell,
what I did, and it was a little sketch.
I know. I was there. And we were like kind of friends. We were Expo friends.
We were not best friends at that point.
We were Expo. We were like,
and we did a 9-hour trip. It was a 4.5. It was like a 4.5 to 5 hour drive down there and a 4.5 to 5 hour drive back to pick up these geckos. It was
a man's house.
We took a risk with the Facebook group buy. We took a risk with our friendship.
You took a risk inviting me in the first place.
I did.
Like, you didn't even have to. You're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite her. Just like, maybe she wants to come along.
This is also
And then I was like, you know what sounds good?
This is also ringing so many bells in my head too, because I'm also remembering that at the time, this was pre-Logan. So I remember at the time I had like a very casual, very short term, like I was kind of talking to a new guy at that point. And I remember, I'll never forget, and this just popped into my head, but I remember he was like, so what are you doing tomorrow? And it was like a Saturday or a Sunday. And I remember I was like, I'm driving with a friend to go pick up 2 lizards. And he was like, what?
Like, you heard what I said.
I was like, did I stutter? No. Like, sorry. So I just remember that happening and being like, just fully surprising this guy, being like, so I'm getting 2 more reptiles.
But they're little.
They're tiny. And I remember him just being like, okay, interesting.
It's right. I was talking to a guy recently, briefly, and he was like, ask me what my weekend. I'm building baby reptile enclosures. I'm building baby chameleon enclosures. Any free time I have, I'm like trying to get a couple more done. Yeah. I'm like, I can't tell him. Like, we had been on one day. I was like, I can't tell him that that's what I'm doing.
No, you
but
cannot.
I also can't say that I don't have plans, because then I'm lame, right? So I gotta like figure out something that I'm doing. And then we were also filming a podcast episode, and I hadn't told him about the podcast. So I'm like, I also can't tell him I'm filming a podcast episode, because then that just opens up a can of worms that I'm not ready to open yet. So, but then I also can't say I'm not doing anything, because again, I sound lame.
So like, what lie am I going to make up?
So I'm like, oh, I'm just like hanging out with my friend. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
We'll see.
Change the subject, like
move along.
And like, I am not ready to. And then like, it was only one date. So like, very glad I did not like get into all of that. But where are we going that?
I don't even
like
know.
Facebook
Facebook groups.
Yeah, and Craigslist and
also
stuff.
Craigslist. So
yeah, just make sure they're not a person that's like not like
always. When it comes to this stuff, I do a lot of Facebook Marketplace like furniture things, and then I've done a lot of Craigslist in my life, selling and buying too. It's just Craigslist safety rules, and this goes for Facebook Marketplace too. With anything you do, just meet in a public setting. If you can, bring somebody with you. Never give somebody your home address. And actually this works out a lot better if like they're coming to you, like, or whatever the situation may be. Like if you're in an apartment, just don't give them your apartment number. Like you just
meet them outside. Meet
them outside. Like just
that's what we did with Tarzan.
Yes, Tarzan was through a breeder that I found on Morph Market. So
we met at an apartment.
Yes, his apartment.
It was in person. Like you connected online, but ended up being in the same location. So like we very much were like, are we even in the right spot? Because it's like an apartment complex, and those are like freaking mazes.
Totally.
And so like, and then I think we were like meeting his son.
It was like his 15-year-old son. It was so weird. It was a really weird.
But then
situation.
we had like his number, and then he's like talking to his son, but like we don't have his son's number.
Yeah.
And then we're expecting like a guy to walk out, and it's like a kid.
This was also like an anaconda buy, so this was crazy.
And we're just like in this apartment parking lot.
Yeah. I will say, for as sketchy of a situation as that was, like the meetup, he was a very good breeder because he did work with Tarzan almost every day, which did help get, into my stuff. Like
the circumstances of the purchase were not sketchy. It was just like the literal exchange of like picking him up was a little weird.
It was real weird. And I don't know why it ended up that way, but man, this episode is making me realize how many sketchy situations I've put myself in my lifetime.
Well, and we had to go back for a second time to pick up Tarzan.
Twice. We had to go twice because the first time it was like 30 or 45 minutes away, I think. And we had agreed to like meet on like a Tuesday at whatever time. And you and I and Logan had driven out there the first time.
Boyfriend Logan.
Yeah, Logan was boyfriend at this point. Logan was
boyfriend Logan. And this was like,
actually, Logan was only boyfriend of like 3 months. He was very
baby
new.
boyfriend.
Baby boyfriend. This is like real new. Like,
because I remember thinking like, whoa, like Logan drove, and I'm in the back seat and just like, because I've been on so many of these trips.
This was like Logan's first time,
and I'm like Logan's the third wheel in this scenario. Even though I'm in the back seat, Logan's the third wheel.
100% he was the third wheel in that scenario.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm like, you're in my world right now, buddy. Okay.
You have entered the reptile world. You are not a part of it. You are a guest.
You'd be in the back seat if this wasn't your car right now. Okay? To be clear.
Literally.
But anyway, so what? I don't remember. It didn't work out though.
It was one of those situations where like I really wanted Tarzan. I was like, I want the snake. I've been prepping. I've like really thought through like all the scenarios. I had conversed with the guy a lot. I had asked all the right questions. I had really, really sussed it out.
Yeah.
But we had like agreed to meet at a time. But the caveat was I hadn't heard from him that day. And so we drove and I had like messaged him like, hey, we're on our way. Still nothing. Hey, we're on our way. Like, are you there?
Yeah.
Like we had like,
sounds familiar.
So it was like a weird situation where like he just was not responding that day and didn't respond for like 2 more days. So he just like forgot and like disappeared on me.
So the 3 of us make this trip, which again, it was not 9 hours, but it was like,
it was a short distance.
It was a drive, but then we like go there, go back.
And it was and it was like really disappointing. Like I was really sad because again, this was a breeder that had said like, yeah, I work with him every day. He's very handleable. He's very tame, this and that. Like, this is my process. This is what I do. Like, it just seemed like it felt like at that point I had made up my mind. We've really gone off on a tangent here, but at that point,
all about buying reptiles.
It's all relevant. But I had made up my mind that I wanted a yellow anaconda, but only if I was certain that it was one that I could handle, that I could tame down, and I was willing to get bit.
And you wanted a male.
I wanted a male. I was willing to get bit as many times as necessary until I determined if he was able to be tamed down. And so I was like, and this seemed like a once in a blue moon situation of like this breeder has worked with this animal enough that I feel good about it.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a rare scenario. So I was crushed. I was really sad. And then he hit me up a couple days later and was like, I am so sorry. I haven't checked these messages. I didn't realize I completely forgot.
Was it through Morph Market?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a different app.
And this was also this was also back when Morph Market was different.
This was a couple years ago now.
Yeah, this was like different ownership of Morph Market. This was very different time. And so the way Morph Market worked was a little bit sketchier back in the day. And so it ended up working out. We ended up going back a second time.
The 2 of us.
Then it was just us, not Logan.
Yeah, because like he didn't tag along. But I distinctly remember just like a Logan tidbit, like of like having a really good conversation of getting to kind of bond with Logan. Because to your point, it was still fairly new, right? So like I at that point hadn't spent a ton of time with Logan. So like. because you're like, oh, Logan and I are gonna go. Like, do you want to come
Yeah.
and all this? And like, not that I had to come because you obviously had someone
to go with.
but like, I'm like, yeah, I want to go see the anaconda.
Obviously,
like,
I want to go.
But then also I was like, oh, cool. Then I can like, you know, hang out with Logan and whatever else.
I do remember you being excited to like have that opportunity.
Yeah,
and
why not?
And I remember us talking about like, he's kind of coming into our world. Like, this is like,
and he was like so for it.
He was really excited. He was always whenever I told him, because I remember approaching him with the idea of like, hey, so like, I kind of have interest in anacondas. What do you think? Like,
is this a deal breaker?
It was very much a like, I'm throwing it out there, but this is kind of a test.
Don't fail.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a test. And he was like, and he loved the movie Anaconda as a kid, like when he was younger. And so he was actually very excited, but he did have like a lot of questions. He was like, so are they aggressive? And I was like, well, we can talk about that. Like, we kind of
That's good. Asking questions is good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so glad we got to go on the little Tarzan tangent.
Love it.
But I think that was like most of what I
think so.
I'm sure something else will pop into my head and we can discuss this in future episodes. And we also have multiple other gotcha stories with all of our
God, we have so many.
Our reptiles. So like we can also like dive into those at
for sure. But
at a different time. But
I'm just realizing how many sketchy scenarios I have put myself in.
I have flashbacks and I'm like,
That was before my frontal lobe was developed.
I'm glad I'm here to tell the tale.
I saw a TikTok the other day that said, I miss who I was before my frontal lobe developed. And I do. I miss her. She was so carefree. She had no problems. She didn't think anything through.
Because now the idea pops into your head and then Eco goes, don't do it. Bad idea. And then you're like, oh yeah, that's a bad idea.
I don't even like taking Ubers anymore. And I used to hop in Ubers like twice a day.
No, okay. Like, so real talk for a second, not having a significant other, AKA a built-in ride to the airport. I'm to the point where like, I think I'm just going to pay for airport parking.
No. Ubers to the airport are awful these days.
But then I feel like driving someone to the airport isn't quite like a friend thing, you know? Can you guys hear that?
Can y'all hear that thunder? Because it's very loud in my ears right now. That was crazy.
But like asking for a ride to the airport to me is like, that's like such an inconvenience for someone. It's not like you're already going that direction or something.
I feel that way too. Like I don't feel that way if a friend asks me, but I feel that way when I ask friends if I ask friends for that. So I feel that.
Am I taking a mental note? I need a ride to the airport next week.
I mean, half of the time we're usually together.
I know. It's the other. And then like work will sometimes pay for some of my trips. It's nice. The ones I don't take with you and aren't work that I'm like, dang it. Yeah. I gotta pay for this. But
I get that.
Anyways, tangent aside, the other piece of this episode, are you excited for this?
I'm very excited for this.
So we got...
This is also, can I just clarify? This is so stupid in the best way. This is like one of those like really dumb but hilarious
if
weird
we had
segments.
to like summarize our podcast brand in one segment,
this is it.
Like
so
it really is. So one of you on our Valentine's episode, like we asked for suggestions and I was like, I'm not even gonna talk about this in Valentine's. Like I want to do a whole separate segment for this. And the question was, if reptiles went on dates, where would different species go and what would they do?
And so what did you do?
And so I'm trying to like brainstorm some things and I was like, I'm so tired. I'm not doing this. So I put it in Chat GPT.
And it's amazing.
And I asked it that word for word, copy and paste, put it in there. Now, the first chunk of responses
was not good.
Were like literal dates if like a crested gecko went on a date activities the crested gecko would do. It'd be like, it would climb the trees and it would eat this or whatever. And
we're like, no, but if they were humans.
And I was like, but with human activities. Yeah. And then it was like, say less. And then just like spit all this out and it's gold.
And just to be clear, she has only skimmed some of these. I have only heard like half of one that you told me yesterday. So like we don't fully know what we're getting into, which is why I'm so excited. Because I only heard like half of one of these responses and it's like, so good.
This is as like unfiltered, like planned.
It's so ridiculous and stupid and I love it. Great. I love it so much.
Okay, so it broke it down into different species. Yes. First one, bearded dragon. Okay? This is what it says. They'd probably enjoy a cozy cafe or coffee shop with some sunlit outdoor seating.
Oh, yes.
Bearded dragons are pretty chill, so they enjoy a relaxed atmosphere where they could just hang out, people watch, and maybe nibble on some veggies or even just bask in the sun while sipping on smoothies.
That is honestly spot on. That
And I feel like
totally
would be a
checks
fun
out.
date.
That'd be a great date, especially for a beardy. Like, get your suntan on. Like, that's fabulous.
Yeah. The only thing I could maybe see is like maybe go to the beach, right? Or like
maybe.
hang out under the sun or something, like, or a pool day.
Yeah, pool day would be
like,
solid.
Like just like, not that that would really be a date,
Not that they
I guess.
need like it's not like they need to go swimming. We've We've discussed that.
I'm fully like just like tanning
Yes,
on
that's what I
like
was
little
thinking
pool
too.
lounger.
Yeah.
But I'm also that's more of an activity, not really a date. So I think this is more
No, this was solid.
more on brand. Okay.
Patio seating.
You
Patio
get the
seating.
next one.
Okay, so this one is green iguanas, which we know how I feel about green iguanas. But these cool reptiles love a bit of adventure. For a date, they might opt to visit this is cute. They might opt to visit to a botanical garden or a jungle-themed park. They would enjoy exploring the lush greenery, maybe taking a leisurely stroll around or lounging near a pond while engaging in some quiet, meaningful conversations. I slightly disagree because in my brain, iguanas are chaos.
They're not lounging
No,
in a botanical garden
but-
having meaningful conversations.
But I think a jungle-themed park or a botanical garden, they would just go a little ham instead of being chill. But I love that.
also, I think would be a cute date.
Very cute
like
date.
in person.
Very
Yeah.
cute date. If iguanas wanted to like get to know each other.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, next up we've got tortoises. Tortoises are slow and steady, so a peaceful date at the botanical garden, excuse me,
This is a repeat.
or, here we go, or a park with lots of green space
Oh,
would be
okay.
ideal. They'd probably enjoy taking their time, walking at a leisurely pace, and stopping to enjoy a picnic with leafy greens.
Cutie.
The day would be all about relaxation and slow enjoyment.
Adorable.
A picnic. I think that'd be very
Adorable.
cute.
I think that is precious. Also, I have a soft spot for picnics.
Yeah.
Because Logan and I did a lot of picnics during COVID when we were first starting to go on dates. So, okay, so the next one is chameleons.
Oh, snap. Okay.
I'm excited that I got this one. Okay. These color-changing charmers would love something dynamic and colorful. So cute. Wait, I love this one. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm like reacting.
I think I read this one.
A fun date might include an art gallery.
I'm obsessed with this.
Where they can admire the colorful paintings or a vibrant street fair filled with different booths and displays. The chameleon might spend the day showing off their ability to blend into the crowd. Inaccurate.
I like the play on words, but
yes. Or even have fun changing colors as they explore the different sites.
cute.
That's adorable.
I mean, obviously
Yeah.
not accurate in that, but like we all
Yes,
know
yes.
the like the stereotype with
Oh
chameleons.
my gosh.
But an art
It's-
gallery?
That is so cute.
I think that's totally on brand because
It's
of like
super on brand.
colorful and everything
very
else.
on brand.
Yeah.
I also love an art gallery. Our wedding was in an art gallery, so I love an art
Yeah.
gallery. That's adorable.
Plus like a little food truck
Yes.
moment.
Oh, that would be so
like,
fun.
I love that.
I love that.
Okay.
Oh, that's so cutie. These are adorable.
Okay, this one just says snakes and caveat. Afterwards, it asked me like, were there any specific species?
Oh.
And I did put ball python. So there's a ball
Okay.
python one coming up. I don't know if it'll be similar or different,
okay.
but okay. For a slithery couple, a cool, trendy date would involve a cozy underground bar or a dimly lit lounge with plush seating. That's cute.
That's adorable.
I just saw a pun on here and laughed. Okay, sorry, I'll keep reading. They enjoy curling up together on the couch, sipping on some cool cocktails, maybe with a snake bite on the menu.
That's adorable.
ChatGPT, let's go.
They are killing it.
While exchanging quiet, mysterious glances. A late night movie or quiet walk through a botanical garden. Okay, we got
They
it.
really like the botanical gardens.
I mean, it's reptiles, I
Yeah,
understand.
I get it.
Might also be on the cards.
I love
So,
that.
That's cute, though.
I love that. That's the underground with the plush seating. Like, big fan of that.
And I'm literally having flashbacks to like dates
Yes.
I've been on.
Yes.
Where you have had
Uh-huh.
the chairs that are like way too big.
Yes.
And then
yes.
you're like,
and it's
okay.
like all velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like really deep. And you're like, well, I don't want to sit in the back of this. So you
Yes.
kind of like sit
And, then,
upright.
and it kind of like encourages like getting close, and you're like, do I get close? I don't know if I want to get
Right.
close. I don't know how close I want to sit to this human.
Now, I like the dimly lit vibes. I
do
think that can
too.
be very good for
Yeah.
a first date and kind of like makes things more chill.
Yeah.
However loud the music is can be a like make or break moment.
absolutely.
Because if the music's too loud, then it's like not
Not
great.
a good move.
No.
Yeah.
But if it's the right like ambient music kind of
yeah.
like vibey stuff, then I'm
Yeah.
like so for that.
Oh, 100%.
Couple cocktails.
Yeah,
Let's go.
give me that snake bite. I'm all for it. Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm so excited. This one is crocodiles and alligators. We got the crocodilians. Oh, okay. These fierce but protective reptiles would likely go for something with a bit of a wild edge. A date near a swamp or marshland would be perfect, followed by dinner at a waterfront restaurant or a barbecue on the beach. If they were feeling extra fancy, they might go for a boat ride, cruising along the river, showing off their stealthy swimming skills while watching the sunset.
Cute.
That is such a cute date idea and so on brand for crocodilians.
It totally is, especially like the boat, like on the waterfront restaurant.
I'm obsessed with
like
that.
the sunset. Because I'm just imagining like little crocodiles swimming
Yes.
and their little tail sticking out of the water, and it's
And they're doing
giving
the little like,
yeah,
oh, it's so cute.
yeah.
I'm obsessed with these. These are so, I'm like cheesing so hard on these. They're adorable.
Oh, this is good. Okay, we've got anoles. An anole might prefer a date in a vibrant sunny park with lots of activity. They'd enjoy a day of playing frisbee or badminton, showing off their agility and speed. If it's a particularly sunny day, they might take a break to bask in the sunlight and exchange flirty glances.
That's actually really dope because the anoles often will have the galar that they use for like mating behavior. So the flirty glances is so on point.
Their date would be full of energy, and they'd probably race around a bit just for fun.
That is so accurate.
I love that. And I like that this is an activity, right? Like the
Yes.
frisbee or badminton can be a very cute, like 2-player stuff like that can actually be really cute for a
Totally.
date idea.
I love that.
Don't forget your sunscreen.
Yeah, that's important. Okay, so up next we have monitor lizards. Monitors are curious and intelligent, so their ideal date might involve an interactive experience. They might go on a hiking trail with lots of exploration, or even a visit to a museum or zoo where they can check out different species. That's a little weird, but that's okay. Afterward, they could grab a bite at a cool restaurant talking about everything they learned while checking out the exhibits. I love that.
I love a zoo date.
I love a zoo date or a museum date too. I love a good museum.
I've been on 2 zoo dates, and they're still like
They're great.
one of my favorites. And as a reptile girly,
Yes.
going into the reptile section, and you can like,
do you know what this is? I do.
you
Do
can
know
let
what
your
this
little
is?
freak flag fly for a little
But
bit.
you gotta play it a little cool.
Yeah.
Little cool, depending on where we're at in the date.
Here's the tricky part. When they say something and it's
Yes.
wrong,
Yes.
and you don't want to correct
Yes.
them,
Yes.
but at the same time, like
Yes.
they sound like they don't know what they're talking about. So you kind of want to like make sure they have the right information, but like you can't correct them because like
I have actually had so many people in my life get so like think that I was being like disrespectful by correcting them on the like venomous poisonous thing. Like I've had so many people get mad at me over that or just get like offended, and I'm like, I'm just telling you a fun fact.
But also, like, do you not want to sound like stupid? Harsh, but you know,
do you not want to sound smarter?
like wouldn't you want to learn how to
Use
say the correct thing?
Yeah, like, but whatever. Some people take offense to it. I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay, ball pythons. We have 3 more. I hope you guys are enjoying this.
I know. I hope so too. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time.
Okay, ball pythons are pretty chill and low key. For a date, they probably enjoy a quiet, cozy setting. Think somewhere like a soft, dimly lit lounge or a rooftop bar with comfortable seating and plenty of places to unwind.
Love.
Cute play on words there. They might appreciate a laid back atmosphere where they can coil up and feel safe, maybe in a secluded, intimate booth.
Ooh.
The conversation would be slow and steady with plenty of space for deep discussions. Afterwards, they might enjoy a calm stroll under the stars, or perhaps visit a cozy hidden bookstore where they can browse for a while, soaking in the peaceful vibes.
That's adorable. I could definitely see that. That checks out.
I love the bookstore moment.
I know.
Little
Bookstores
bookworm
are fun.
type thing.
I love a good bookstore.
Okay, so these 3, the ball pythons and these next 2, were ones where it's like, do you have any specific species? So they are a little bit wordier. And then crested gecko has like an activity idea. So you just like read what you want out of that.
Okay. Crested geckos are more lively and social, so their date would have a bit more energy. A great option would be for them to visit a botanical garden. Boo. We've already done that, ChatGPT. Or a lush outdoor space with lots of trees and climbing opportunities. These geckos love to explore and climb, so they would be in their element, bouncing from one branch to the next. A good picnic might follow where they could nibble on some fruit and maybe even share some of it with their date. That's cute. They'd enjoy a setting.
Feed each other strawberries.
I know, right? They'd enjoy a setting with plenty of vibrant colors and movement, and their date would likely include some playful interactions like showing off their jumping or climbing skills. Activity idea.
I like this part, is why I put it in here.
Okay. A nature walk with lots of trees and vines where they can show off their agility and then afterward grab some fruit or a smoothie from a local market. Oh, we love a market moment. The key would be an active, fun atmosphere where they can both show off their unique qualities. I love
The
that.
smoothie part,
The smoothie part.
I thought was so cute.
That is so cute.
And very on brand.
Very on brand.
For a crested gecko.
Perfect.
One idea that popped into my head for a crested gecko date idea would maybe be like indoor skydiving.
Oh, that's a salt. You know what that makes me think of? That makes me think of all of the illustrations of crested geckos doing their like flop.
Yes, exactly.
That's 100%
exactly. Because or skydiving if you wanted to, but like skydiving's like to me not really a date. You could, but like to me that's like more.
That's a relationship.
It's like a pretty adventurous thing to commit to.
Like they do that on The Bachelor,
right?
And they do that specifically to force them to like bond over a crazy experience. So,
but I feel like indoor skydiving, minimal risk, right? Can be fun together, like.
I think that's a great
whatever.
move. That
and
would
that
be
gives
perfect.
me crested gecko vibes.
Yeah, totally crested gecko vibes. That's perfect.
Okay.
That makes me think of the sticker I used to have for Monkey on like
that's
my
exactly
old,
what's in my head
my
right
old
now.
enclosure labels. I had one that he was just like flailing, like
also on brand for Monkey.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, he was great. He was a crazy one.
Okay, this is the last one to round us out. Blue tongue skinks.
Oh,
Blue tongue skinks are laid back but still enjoy some action.
yeah. Heck
I
yeah,
love
they do.
reading these. They'd likely love a date that involves both relaxation and exploration. A perfect spot for them might be an outdoor cafe with a relaxed vibe and lots of space. They could bask in the sun on the patio, just chilling out together and enjoying a warm drink, or perhaps some veggies and fruit from a local farmer's market.
Yes.
Afterward, they might take a stroll around a park or local zoo, checking out the animals and taking their time. The date would definitely have a good balance of taking it easy, but also social and engaging with their environment.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love the little veggie.
I know.
The veggie moment.
Yes. We love the veggies. And Nilla doesn't dislike her veggies. She eats her veggies pretty good. So.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed
No,
this.
this was really fun. I loved it.
Also, way better than whatever we would have come up with.
Way better. So whoever suggested that, thank you. And also thank you to ChatGPT because that was highly entertaining.
Because we would have listed off activities.
Yeah.
But this is like a little narrative.
No,
it
this
totally paints a picture.
This was way better. This was way more fun. Way more fun.
So good. But let us know of any species or date ideas.
Yeah.
Do you agree, disagree? Like, would you have thrown in something else in there?
Also, which one are you? Which date would you rather go on? If you would you rather be, a ball python in a cozy little booth, or would you rather be the blue tongue skink at the market? Which do you prefer?
Let us know. Let us know. Well, that was so much fun.
So fun.
I feel good. Well, I enjoyed this episode.
I did too.
This one was because it was just kind of like chatty.
Yeah, it was very chatty. We got on several tangents. I love it when we go off script. Or not script, we don't script, but off the plan.
Yes, yes. But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can follow the podcast at the Wild Type Podcast. Give us a like on Spotify, YouTube, follow us, whatever you name it. We're there. You can follow me at Neptune the Chameleon.
I'm everywhere at Lyssa Lizards.
And we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye, y'all.